And good morning! Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. So welcome to our very first Saturday morning dungeon fun run. We kind of came up with the idea on the fly last night to do some D&D, since we can never get enough of it. And I woke up at 6 a.m. and wrote a dungeon. So we will see how this goes. It's a one-on-one style, which I've never run with Justice before. So he may hate it, and I may kill him. That's the way this might go.
But hey, it's like couples therapy.
Is it like therapy if one of us dies?
Depends on how brutal the murder is.
Okay. All right, that's fair. It'll be brutal, I'm telling you right now, because that's what I do. So, our story begins. We open on a crisp, dewy morning in a clearing, heavy wind blowing. What's your character's name?
Chiroon.
Chiroon finds himself in a line of similar adolescents waiting in the bitter cold as the wind howls through the mountaintop that you all are standing in. The clearing is a perfect circle, outside of which the elders from your city-state look on, hopefully, at all of you young people standing. On a slight platform in the circle facing you is Queen Artena. Queen Artena raises her hands to silence the crowd and says, "Good morning and welcome. We gather here today for the Trials of Prentice, a tradition that's lived in our city-state for 1,000 years and will live for 1,000 more. You all are the next generation of our lineage. The Trials of Prentice will determine whether or not you have the fortitude, the strength, the intelligence, and the determination to lead us into a new age of greatness. Many rival kingdoms have tried to overcome and to trample down our small but proud city-state. You all will be responsible for defending us. Should you fail in the trials, there is no home for you here. You will be cast out, never to return home." She extends her arm towards what was previously just a cliff face, and before your eyes falls a pearlescent doorway shape that almost becomes solid as it appears. It's reflective, like the surface of water, but you can't see what lies behind it. The queen turns and leaves the circle, all of you standing in a line, awaiting the Trials of Prentice. What do you look like?
Will, this way. Yay. Average height, not too muscly or anything, wearing some basic robes, or more like a... I have the image in my head, but I can't put it towards like the cross sash with the pants that you'd see on a monk, and slightly pointed ears. A youth, definitely 17 years old, give or take. A little difficult to tell with that elven heritage. Looks very young though, but definitely that peak physical condition that you only get in youth.
And standing in this line with you are 4 other individuals, all of similar lineage, it would appear. They all have the slightly pointed ears, the very slender build that you have. You feel as though you're probably a little bit stronger than some of the individuals here, but all of you have been training for this day since basically birth. So you're all very anxious. The doorway, now fully formed in front of you, glitters in anticipation. What do you do?
There's no indication of, like, the rest. You said the queen was there. Is there a crowd gathered or anything like that?
There's a crowd of onlookers, but you get the sense that they won't actually be able to see the trials. Now, you know from elders, from people in your city-state who have told you, the trials appear differently to every individual person. They're never the same for two people. It's very much a personal test of will. So you get the sense that once you go through this doorway, you won't have any onlookers.
And there's no indication, no fanfare. It's she does her announcement, waves her hand, and then it's just kind of left to us.
She waves her hand and then actually turns and leaves.
Okay. I'm gonna look back and forth at my fellow people, and are any of them moving?
Two of them look a little bit nervous. A boy who actually looks a little bit younger than you off to your left is sort of shaking in place. It almost seems as though they're looking to you for guidance to see what you do.
I'll look back and forth at all of them, and I'll say, well, I guess now's the time. Come on, brothers, let's do this. And I'll push them ahead of me and follow them towards the door.
Okay. Do you guys go through the doorway?
Yeah, when we get there, I'll take the lead and I'll step through first.
All right. So as you stepped through this doorway, it's beautiful. Even though this is something new and something very different, and again, something that you've never seen before, you're struck by the beauty of the doorway that you're walking through. It's almost like being bathed in light, and it physically warms you as you walk through it. But the light is so blinding beneath the surface that you kind of close your eyes as you're stepping through. When you open them, everything you saw around you was gone. There are no more half-elves around you. It's just you. You are in a dark-ish, it's lit by lamplight, a circular room covered in doors. There's about 20 different doors in this room. Almost directly opposite you, because your back is almost against a door, like you just walked through it. Mm-hmm. Directly opposite you, mounted on the wall, above a particular door frame, is a large pearlescent jewel.
I'd like to look around. I don't see if there's anything noticeable, any markings about any of the other doors besides the one with the jewel.
Make me an investigation check and a perception check.
Investigation. 19. Perception. 9.
Okay. So you're walking around, and you're kind of not touching any of the doors, but trying to get a sense of if there's anything different about any of them. And you notice that they're all pretty plain wood. However, there are some very strong odors that you can smell that seem to be coming from specific doorways. You do get the sense, though, that you're being watched right now.
Hello? Is anyone here? I'm gonna look around.
Hello, young one.
Based on what I assume that everybody has to go through this, right? So everybody talks about it, but it's different for everybody. Has anybody ever mentioned a voice?
Make me a history check.
That is a natural 20.
All right. So, again, the trials are going to present themselves differently to everyone who goes through them. However, you do know that there is always a guide. Your grandfather used to tell you what you believed to be tall tales of a bird that led him through the trials when he was going through them. Your grandmother used to talk about a guide that sounded like the babbling of a river. You recognize that this voice that you're hearing is probably your guide, and that it has to be coming from somewhere.
Hello. I based on what I hear, I guess you're here to guide me through this Prentice test. I'm a little nervous.
I can see that, young one. You may call me Pearl.
Hello, Pearl. Do you have any words of wisdom for this particular... Which door do I choose?
Well, you grew up in the village. The sayings of the village are the sayings of the Prentice. Know the path of thy people. Know the culture of thy people. Know the craft of thy people. Know the honor of thy people. Know the courage of thy people. Know this, and you will know the glory of the people. And as those words are kind of rigging through the air, and you're starting to sort of interpret where that came from, a face that looks remarkably like your grandfather appears in the mounted pearl on the ceiling. It looks down with you with a warm and gentle grin. Obviously, it's not menacing in any way.
I'll go down to a knee. And
Oh, that's foolish. Get up. What are you doing?
Grandfather, I'm honoring our heritage.
I'm not your grandfather, child.
Oh. Yeah, I knew that. That makes sense. Crack my neck and let's... All right, let's do this. I'm ready. I've been preparing this my whole life. And I'll go through a couple of my forms that I know, and take some breathing exercises, and then I'll square myself. I'm ready.
Are you limbered up? Are you ready?
Yes.
Good. I expect you'll be up to the challenge of these trials. I think you'll perform admirably. The other children look up to you.
I've noticed this, and I've tried to embody that throughout my training and my years. I tried to lead by good example.
Well, you're here now, and we're excited to see you succeed. So, which door will it be?
I'm going to go back around and I try and identify some of the odors that I smelled coming out of the doors.
Okay. A lot of them don't really smell like anything. A lot of them appear to be what you would assume to be dud doors or false doors or something like that. Could you roll me an investigation check again?
7.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. 4.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's not as good. So you're walking around, and there are 4 doors that have very prominent odors. One of them smells like the sea. That very heavy salt air scent. It's almost permeating the whole room. It's a very overpowering smell. There's a door that smells like a campfire almost. That heavy smoky smell. With, again, a whiff of the ocean, because that you can't get that out of your nostrils right now. A third door that smells like, for lack of a better word, home. It smells like the fresh flowers that grow in the fields surrounding your city-state. A lot of sort of lavender type scents are mixed in there. And actually, oddly enough, it smells like your mother's home. So it smells like the fresh cut flowers that she would constantly bring in from the fields. It smells like the stew that she would make for you growing up. It smells like your childhood. And then there is a final door that has a very obvious odor that smells like, for lack of a better term, war. It smells like the iron of blood, the sweat of battle, and then the unmistakable scent of rot.
And what was the first thing that my guide said when he was talking about you must know?
The Pearl looks over to you as you're sort of circling the room and really getting a good whiff of these odors. It says, "Know the path of thy people. That's what will get you out of here."
Okay. I know that we have a history of war. That's why we do the trials, so we're all strong and we can defend our nation. And I know that we come from a nomadic people, and campfires are our way of life. And for many years, we roam from camp to camp. And I know that home is very important to our people, but home is the journey, not the path. And ultimately, we came from the sea. We came across, as the legends say, from the old country, and we came here and settled on these shores. So the path of the people, I'm going to go with the sea. Let's go behind door number C.
You walk over to the door, and you gingerly extend your hand and place it on the doorknob, and immediately you're thrown backwards. You slam into the wall and sort of slump down. Go ahead and roll 1d4 bludgeoning damage. Take that.
Well, I guess that was wrong.
Pearl is gonna... Child, you know that these trials are different for everyone. You are not a nomad. You did not travel over the sea.
That's, well... Okay, ow. So the path of the people means my path?
These are your trials, are they not?
Yeah, well, okay. When you say it like that, you make me feel real dumb. I'm sorry. So I guess I'm gonna go with the door that smells like home. That's my path. I haven't been to war. Frankly, I don't like to swim, so I don't like the sea. I guess home?
Now you're a little gun shy. So you sort of walk over and you extend your hand and you touch this doorknob, and there's almost a little shock, like an electric shock. You hear a click, and this heavy stone door just swings open.
Whew.
Very well done, child.
I'll slowly push it open and stick my head in, but not actually go all the way in.
It looks like sort of an antechamber. Everything's sort of cobbled, and you feel as though you're underground. There's no natural light of any kind, but there are some sconces spaced just far enough apart that the entire little bit of this antechamber is dimly lit. On the other side of it, you can see another door that appears to be slightly ajar.
Nothing else in the room, just through to another door?
Just through to another door.
Well, I guess I'll walk cautiously. I'll keep my senses about me, but I will walk cautiously across the antechamber towards the other door.
The instant you set foot in this antechamber, there's a sound of like whoosh, and the lights of the sconces grow all at once about 4 times as bright, and in an instant, racks upon racks upon racks of weaponry just appear lining the walls of this antechamber. There are axes, and there are daggers and swords and bows and arrows and shields and anything you could ever imagine to inflict pain on another being appears.
Matrix style? Like...
Pretty much.
Nice.
But like down from above.
Okay.
Instead of hallway style.
I'm gonna, just whatever's closest, I'm just gonna reach out and kind of tap it, make sure it's not gonna do something to me.
You get a tink, tink, tink as you hit the metal.
Well, I guess I'll look around and I'll say, Pearl, are you here, Pearl?
You hear Pearl, but Pearl sounds a little bit distant. Yes, child.
Do I help myself here? Is this test?
Well, we certainly don't want to send you in unarmed. That would be foolish. This is war, after all.
Absolutely. So I'll take a look around and I'll find a longsword, sort of the Shaolin style double blade or double edged longsword.
Okay.
And I'll also grab a longbow and some arrows to go with it.
Okay.
It's just weapons. There's no like random other stuff.
Make me an investigation check to see which of these weapons you actually pick up.
That is a 5.
And one more.
That is also a 5.
You kind of look over the weapons and you find a sword that's to your liking. It looks old. There's some obvious wear on the wrapping of the handle, but it'll do. You know how to use it, and you feel you can wield it. As you circle the room, you don't really find anything other than the weapons, but you do manage to find a really cool longbow that has like little leaf engravings all over it and things like that, and you think it looks kind of neat, so you take that with you as well. And 20 arrows.
No ropes, no climbing pitons.
Not with a 5, no.
Okay. I'll grab those. I'll position the quiver on my back and the bow as well, and then I'll kind of fasten the longsword to my robes with a belt, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, no kidding. That dice might need to just sit out for a little while. It's not doing me so
No,
good.
you need to use it. This is the only dice you have that doesn't roll well for you.
We'll see. I've got my mustache dice. I'll rotate through.
You gotta do the makeup thing if you're gonna show off your dice.
Oh.
But you gotta do it so that it's actually... There you go. Close. So close. Down. There you go.
I'm bad.
You guys see the little mustache?
That's my actual mustache. Diana ordered these from the Vlogsmith Gill for my birthday last year. Anywho, I'm going to now that I am appropriately girded, I will go through into that next door, just kind of push it open and stick my head in.
Outside of this for half a second. So, Justice, just so you know, I did put all of the know thys in the overlay, so you can see those without having to ask Pearl every time, because I am a kind and benevolent overlord. You sort of push open the door to the next room, again very cautiously, because you were just abused by a door. So it swings open, and it's heavy stone, so it makes that sort of grinding noise as it goes. And once it opens, your eyes are adjusting to the dim light of this room, because again, it's not very well lit. You see that this doorway opens up into an enormous chamber with a ceiling that's so high you can't see it. And everywhere along the walls are these beautiful bejeweled chests and vats and containers and all the riches that you could ever possibly imagine having. Guarantee you it's in this room. There must be hundreds of things to look at here. You do see, to your left, as you enter the room, there's another large pearl mounted on the wall. And in it, sort of there, but also not there, very semi-transparent, is Pearl, watching you look at the room.
Hey, Pearl. Do you have any wise words for this room?
Well, it appears as though there's some treasure here.
Oh, boy, that's helpful. Based on what you said before, I suppose this is the know the culture of thy people's room. So,
well, let's think about that for a second. Our people's culture is more than treasure. What about craft?
Our main craft is war. And I got the weapons. I can't imagine that was part of the trial, though. That seems more like arming myself. I mean, we're renowned potters, and we have a little bit of everything in our culture, right?
This is true. This is true. Our people are wonderful warcrafters for sure, but we make beauty in our own right as well, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Make me a general intelligence check. With advantage because Pearl is there to help you.
Yay. Oh, God. That was a 2 for the first one and a 4 for the second one. So
how are you doing this today?
General intelligence is 5.
How do you roll this poorly when there's no one to help you?
I don't know.
Okay. With a 5, you know that, yes, your people are known for being a very militaristic culture. You're all very skilled fighters. However, there are patterns and materials and arts that are very specific to your city-state. Being up in the mountains means that you have access to certain berries to dye things and certain woods with which to create things that other cultures may not necessarily have access to.
Okay. Then I will look around. The chests are closed.
Yes.
But are there indications on the outside of the chests what kind of things would be in them?
Nope. But looking across the room, you can see that the next door is closed and does appear to have a keyhole.
I should have looked for a thieves' kit in that last room. Lock picking. All right. Well. Well. I mean, we're weavers. We do lots with dye. So I'm gonna take a look around and see if there's any chest that stands out as a very colorful, more colorful than anything else. See if it matches anything that I know of from my time at home and my time at the temple.
Okay. Go ahead and make me either a history check or a religion check, whichever is higher.
Okay. I'm gonna do history. Oh wait, they're the same. Yeah. I'm gonna do history. New dice. That is a 1. That is a straight stone 1.
You find out of the 100 or so chests, we'll say, that are in this room, you find perhaps 10 that sort of remind you of things you might have seen while you were growing up. Now, they're all little different materials-wise. There's no two of them are exactly the same in style, but you find about 10 that you think, hey, this could be right.
You know what, Pearl? I'm just too worked up. I'm obviously, you know what? And I'm just gonna go open the closest chest to me.
Oh God. He got real lucky when I rolled my dice, guys. So, as you're walking to this chest to open it, Pearl goes, "But child, you must think about..." And as soon as that leaves Pearl's mouth, you have the chest open in front of you. And there's a key in it.
Well.
Now, this chest... it's made from the fir trees that grow specifically in the forest on top of the mountain you all live in. It's also covered in a blue ink on the outside, almost like a dye, that's made from berries, again, only found on this particular mountaintop. So looking at it, you're like, oh yeah. Yeah, this is totally something that we made. Even the symbols and the patterns and the way that the decoration that covers the outside of this particular chest is laid out, you recognize some of the symbolism as being things that would appear in religious texts, or historical documents that are being made by your city-state.
Well, I always say it's better to be lucky than good. And I'm going to grab the key and go try and open the door.
Make me a dexterity saving throw with disadvantage.
Oh no, it's a mimic! I rolled a 2 and an 8. Just straight dex.
Dexterity saving throw.
So that's an 8.
That's not good enough. As you take about 2 steps towards this door with the key in your hand, and you're like real proud of yourself. You're strutting, you got your chest all puffed out. Pearl is giving you a very discerning stare. And one of the chests that you thought kind of looked like it might have been made by your people just reaches out and goes for your leg. You are right. It is a mimic. Roll initiative.
One moment. I need to get some different dice.
Is it that bad?
I rolled over 10 once. I'm subbing. Pitch any. Let's go with... You know what?
It's okay. I have to find the right thing anyway, so that I can kill you.
All right. I'm pulling out 2 sets. I've got my Aqua Striped Agate. You know, there's blue. Apparently that's important to our culture. And my wood dice.
Man, I was thinking I wasn't going to have to roll any dice for this, but
I'm a monk,
you have successfully ruined that idea.
All right. Let's kill a box. Initiative 19. You just gotta get the right dice for the right character, and that's all.
All right. This mimic has jumped out and gone for your leg. What do you do?
I'm gonna pull out my longsword and then just take a 2-hand strike and come right down on it.
Okay, rolled hit.
16.
That'll hit.
For 12 damage.
That hurt. You really made it mad.
And then... Nope, that's all. That's all for now.
Okay. The mimic... Oh, balls. Having just gotten hit is just going to kind of... and pull back for half of a second. And now it's angry. So it is going to, again, go for a nice bite right on your ankle. Does a 23 hit?
Yeah.
7 points of piercing damage and...
Ow.
Ooh. And 8 acid damage.
Well, you know, this was fun.
What would you like to do?
Okay. I'm gonna use disengage as a bonus action. So I'm gonna spend a key point to use the disengage.
Okay.
To use Step of the Wind, so disengaging. And I'm gonna scoot as far away from this chest as I can.
Okay. You can move comfortably about 20 feet away, easily.
Okay. And I'm gonna pull out my longbow and try and take a shot at it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll to hit.
14.
That hits.
And that is for only 6 damage.
Okay. All right. It is going to kind of shudder just a little bit in place, and start moving towards you. And normally this movement would be sort of jerky and not very graceful at all, but this mimic, it actually seems to sort of glide across the floor towards you. And it is going to get about 5 feet away from you and then just screech at you to the point where you're like, oh gosh. It's a very high-pitched sound.
Gross.
Go ahead.
A screaming box is chasing me around a treasure room.
Yep. This is your life.
All right.
Welcome to adulthood.
I'm gonna scoot away again. Not gonna spend a key point. Just gonna use my regular old movement because he's not close enough, right? And I'm actually gonna try and get. Let's see. Are there any shelves or anything, or is it all on one level?
There are, like, right up against the walls, it looks like there are sort of tiered shelves where the chests are stacked so that you can see more than one at a time. But there's not really... Most of it is level ground.
So there's not really anything to climb and get up a little higher?
You could, with good enough acrobatics, probably climb on top of some of the larger chests if you wanted to not be right up on the mimic itself.
But then I run the risk of running into another mimic.
That is a risk you run, yes.
All right, chat. Do I acrobats up on a chest and risk running into another mimic, or do I stand my ground?
Acrobats.
All right, we're doing it. Let's try and scramble up out of the chests.
You know, I'm gonna go ahead and give you advantage on this because I know a little bit about your character, and I feel like this is a hardcore parkour moment.
Hardcore parkour.
Yep.
All right. Acrobatics. Both are 19.
Okay.
25.
Apparently swapping out dice was the right thing.
Whew.
So that's really good. Tell me what this looks like.
So I've got my longbow in hand, and the chest is about 5 feet away. So I'm gonna throw my longbow, do a series of backflips away, and then kind of parkour up onto a chest, and then catch my longbow. Real cool, superhero style.
Go ahead and give yourself back 2 hit points. That was
nice.
That was cool enough looking that you feel better afterwards. You feel way more capable in this dungeon.
And then I'm gonna draw an arrow and try and shoot.
Okay, go ahead.
15?
That hits.
All right. For 8 damage. Bum, 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 bum.
8 damage. Okay.
And that's my turn.
So this poor mimic. This mimic's not huge. It's maybe only about 2 feet across. And it's very confused as to why you keep hitting it. So it's going to come over and kind of, again, glide across the floor, screeching as it goes, moving towards the giant chest that you're standing on top of. And it'll kind of growl at you from down there, almost like an ankle biter style dog. This is the Chihuahua of mimics. Mm-hmm. And it'll growl, and realizing that it can't get to you, it's going to try and run away. So it's about 5 feet away from you right now.
You know what? I'm not gonna burn more arrows shooting at a thing that's no longer a threat to me. I'm gonna knock an arrow and hold action. That if it comes back towards me, I'm gonna let it go. But right now, I'm just kind of like, you do your thing, I'll do my thing, bro, and we'll carry on carrying on.
Okay. So we are out of initiative order.
I survived the mimic.
Okay. So now, this mimic has seemingly sort of disappeared into the shadows after a couple more seconds, and you are standing on top of a chest with an arrow notch, like ready to go. And Pearl is laughing hysterically. Oh, my child. Oh, trapped in here, I haven't laughed like that in quite some time. Oh, thank you. Oh,
That was serious. He took a chunk out of me. Look, acid. It burned me.
that was just a baby.
Yeah.
All right. You defended yourself admirably. That's what counts.
All right, I'll put the arrow away, re-sling my bow.
So now you are standing in this room, still on top of a chest, but you do have the key that you found inside of the little marked one.
Okay, well, I'm gonna gracefully scramble down from the top of this chest and make my way over to the door. I'm gonna keep distance from all the other chests as much as I can as I walk towards the door.
Okay.
And try the key.
You slide the key into the lock and give it a turn. It goes. And seemingly without any effort, the door again begins to sort of grind open without you pushing on it.
Stick my head in, cautious again. Take a look around.
This is another room, again with a very, very high ceiling. That dimension-wise, it looks very similar to what you just left with all the chests, except instead in this room there are statues that stand about 2 feet higher than your head, that resemble humanoid figures, but they're headless. They have arms, they have legs, sort of ambiguous bodies. There's no clothing carved or anything like that, but there's about 80 of these statues lined up. Again, the room
80
is...
or 8?
80. The room is dimly lit, but the statues appear to be sort of strategically placed. And again, if you look to your left, mounted on the wall is another large ovular pearl. And Pearl is looking at you, waiting to see how you react to this new scenario.
I'd like to walk up to one of the statues and give it a once-over. Does it look... You said there's no clothes. There's nothing distinguishing about any single one statue, is there?
No.
Okay.
It's just rock.
I'll kind of do a circuit of the room. Are there heads anywhere that would look like they go on these statues?
No heads, but make me a perception check.
17.
Okay. Walking around the room and examining these statues, you recognize that, it's probably not the statues themselves that make much of a difference, because those are all the same. But you do get the sense that the way the statues are arranged, it seems kind of familiar.
Can I push on one of the statues a little bit, see if they move?
Make me a strength check.
I'm not trying to push it over, just seeing if it moves easily. That is a critical fail. That is a number 1.
You go to push real hard on this statue, and you're giving it your elbow, and you're pushing with your shoulder, and you lose your footing. And your shoulder sort of grinds down the side of the statue as you fall. Go ahead and take one damage for me.
Not a word, Pearl. Not a word.
child, no one expects you to attack statues.
So, know the craft of thy people, know the honor of thy people. Is there a way to get up high so I can look down at the statues?
You could, if you wanted to, attempt to sort of scale the cobbled wall a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to get up above and look down and see if there's any pattern that I recognize in the formation of the statues.
Okay, go ahead and make me an athletics check.
Athletics.
10. Okay. We'll say it takes you a couple minutes, but you're able to scramble maybe 6 feet up the wall. And you're sort of climbing right beside Pearl, who's chit-chatting to you as you go. And Pearl finally says, "Know the culture of thy people, child. This is very important." And as you hit that point, higher up on the wall and looking again at the layout of these statues, make me an intelligence check.
Gin intelligence.
Is that a crit?
Natural 20.
Looking at the statues from this vantage, you recognize, oh, yeah, this is the tribal victory dance. And looking at the way that the statues are arranged, it's obviously set up as a dance formation. Now, this is a dance that you know. You used to do it as a child with your parents and your grandparents when they would return from battle. So you recognize this pattern extends all the way, if you were to follow the dance steps, from one end of where these statues begin all the way to the other, where the other doorway lies.
Well then, I would like to go to the very first statue and stand next to it and just start doing the dance down the hall towards the other door, kind of chasseing my way across the fall, like doing each move at the spot where the statue is doing it.
Okay. You begin to dance, but what you don't realize until it's happening is that the statues start to dance with you. So as you're doing this tribal dance and you're making some of the motions going from one side to the other and playing the beat of the war drum in your head as you go to keep your rhythm, you recognize that the other dancers are following step. So now you are surrounded by giant headless stone statues that are dancing. Make me a performance check to see if you can stay without getting stomped on in this beat.
Squishy. Oh, performance. Dirty 20.
Okay. Going down the first line of dancers, you keep rhythm with them, and you recognize that sort of out of the darkness, the beat of the drums, the beat that you're keeping in your head, actually seems to be resonating around the cavern. So it's as if music is playing. You make it through the first line of dancers, no problem. Go ahead and make me another performance check.
7.
Okay. In the second row of dancers, you sort of almost trip a little bit over the feet of one of these giant stone statues as it's moving past you, and you stumble for a minute, but you get back up and continue to go. Make me a final performance check to see if you can make it through the third row of dancers.
8.
You stumble through the last couple steps of this dance, and you recognize it's been a little while since you tried to do this particular jig. Make me a dexterity saving throw.
You know what? I'm gonna swap dice real quick. I'm gonna go back to the wooden dice. Oh no. Dex saving. 14.
14 is enough. So you make it to the final few steps of this dance, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna get stomped on. I know what's gonna happen. And just as one of these stone feet is coming straight down, and it looks as though it's gonna land directly on the bridge of your foot, you sort of fling yourself backwards out of the way and into the doorway leading to the next room. Right where your foot was, just moments earlier, there's a crunch as the statue's foot falls and slams into the pavement.
Whew.
Well done, child.
That was the most stressful dancing that I've ever done.
Well, hopefully this will be the only time that your life depends on it, right? Are you going to go through the doorway?
Yeah, I'm going to take a moment to compose myself and resituate my robes and my bows and all that stuff. And, you know what? I'm going to confidently not walk through the next door. I've gotten over my fear of doors and I'm ready to go.
Gotten over your fear of doors. So as you're proceeding from this room to the next room, Pearl is going to say, so now that you've faced some of your trials, we've discovered that you know the culture of your people, and you know the craft of your people. What will we find out next? And as you set foot in the next room, there is no light. No light whatsoever. There's no walls that you can see. It's almost an unnatural blackness that's filling the air, thick like ink. You see a slightly illuminated doorway, perhaps 30, 40 yards away from you right now. It's a straight shot. But the room itself is completely dark.
And my dark vision doesn't help me there?
Your dark vision doesn't seem to work. Make me an intelligence check right now.
We need a crit buzzer.
We don't.
We do.
The dog would go nuts.
I don't think he would.
Okay, so with a critical, you recognize at this point in your trials, every trial is directly related to one of the values of your city-state. So you've gone through and you've tested the craft of your people, you've tested the culture of your people, and what is left, you have courage, honor. Back when you chose your doorway, you tested the path of your people. So it's just honor and courage that are left. This black room laid out in front of you.
My people's culture is nothing if not brave, and I'm gonna fix the outline of the door in my vision and just walk. I'm gonna head up, back straight, as fearless as I can. I'm gonna walk straight towards the door.
As soon as you set foot in this room, you hear the doorway slam behind you. Now you're completely enveloped in this darkness. And from the first step you take, you hear things on every side. The growls of wolves, the howl of the wind. It's as if you were stranded in the woods, but you're not. You know that you're not. But it sounds like you are about to be preyed upon by numerous vicious things that have hunted you in the past. Make me a Constitution save.
That is a dirty 20.
All right. You take several steps into the room, and you're still feeling very brave. But then comes a low guttural just... That's a dragon. You hear a dragon right now. Is there a dragon in this room? You take another couple steps. Make me another Constitution save.
Courage. That is a 21.
You're about halfway, you think, into this room. And the guttural din that you hear just keeps getting louder and louder. Now, the other noises you heard, the growling of wolves and dogs and, other creatures, has slowly died out, leaving only this just... You can hear the breathing. You can actually feel the steam of its breath slowly just sort of nipping at your heels as you walk. The ground that you're walking on starts to gently shake as if steps are being taken behind you. Make me one final Constitution save.
I'm going to put my hand on my sword hilt and keep trying to walk forward.
It's cocked.
That was going to be a 20, though. You saw that.
I saw that.
Well, that's 4.
So you make it to the point where you're about 15 feet from this doorway. And this gust of just wet, hot, rancid dragon breath just blows up from behind. And you've been really, really brave up until this point, but that's just too much. There's a dragon in here and you can't take it. And you sort of sprint the last 15 feet for the door. Make me a dexterity saving throw.
10.
10, okay. You get to the point where you're about 3 paces out of the doorway. Again, these huge, heavy footsteps hitting the ground and just the steam of dragon breath on your back. You almost drop your sword. Like, you had your hand on it, but you almost kind of pushed it through the sash you had it tucked in. But you managed to sort of stumble and catch it as you're running for this doorway. You are now standing there. And as soon as you touch the door, the sound completely stops.
I knew there wasn't really a dragon in here. Pearl, if you're watching, I knew.
You seemed pretty scared, child.
That was an act.
Well, I'm glad you weren't really, because there is a dragon in there, and he can tell when people are afraid.
Oh, I'm not scared of a dragon.
A huge footfall happens about 10 feet from you, followed by a screech.
I will scooch on into the next one.
You push open this door, and again that grinding stone on stone noise happens. Do you walk through the doorway?
I do. Just, yep, no hesitation.
You gotta get away from that dragon.
Yep.
You step through the doorway, and it's like you're transported again. You are in a well-lit, warm inn of some kind. And you're sitting on a long bench at a large oak table where it looks like 3 or 4 other people are sitting. Not half-elves like you, but there's a Goliath there, and there's some very small man-like creature there. And they're apparently all friends, sitting there and enjoying themselves. Maybe a little boisterous, a little rowdy. obviously having some mead for the evening. And while you're examining these characters, a large, portly gentleman comes over and sort of slams down a crust of bread and a mug of mead in front of you and waddles away back to the kitchen that he came out of.
Pearl, is this... do I get a snack break? This seems a little out of character for what's been going on here.
There is no response from Pearl, but the 4 characters at the other end of the oak table you're sitting at are looking at you, and one of them nudges his friend. He goes, "What we got here? He's talking to himself."
I'm going to put my head down and start munching on the crust of bread while looking around.
So looking around, it is the trope of a tavern. It is normal in every single way. There are people sitting and eating. There's a small band playing some beautiful music. You're a big fan of music. You really like the lute, but you don't really get to hear it that much. So this is a pleasant surprise for you. Most of the patrons of the establishment are buried deep in whatever food they're having or whatever conversation they're having. But this group of 4 at the same table as you are drunk. They're drunk and they're angry. And as you're sitting there enjoying your mead, the orc who's sitting there is going to say, that Queen Artana, she's a real piece of work. I'd love to just cut her head off for all the evil she's done in this land. Her table mates will start laughing, and they're all sort of pounding their drinks at this point, and they will continue on to say, Queen Artana's not so bad. She's a pretty one at least. Good for something, if you know what I mean. And the conversation will sort of devolve from there. So now these 4 party members are sitting there just saying horrible, defiling things about your queen. What do you do?
Well, I feel obligated to defend the honor of my people. So, can you? You said it was a Goliath?
He has some Goliath blood in him. He's not full Goliath because barely fit in the room in that case. But there's an orc, there's a halfling, and there's a human.
I'm gonna... All right. If he dies, he dies. I say, you 4 over there, I will not listen to you besmirch the honor of my people. And I'm gonna... No, I'll leave it at that. I will say that. I will not throw my bread at them.
The orc who started this confrontation is gonna stand up very suddenly, knocking his seat backwards as he does so. What did you just say to me? Do you know who I am?
I don't, and frankly, I don't care. I won't allow you to besmirch my people. The queen is an honorable woman, and she has done great things.
The orc in question, his friends have fallen kind of silent, having seen the anger sort of wash over him. Even they look afraid. So the orc is going to take 2 huge steps towards you. What are you going to do about it, little dude? You can smell the mead.
I got my bag of tricks here. Well, I'm going to challenge you. If you think so little of my people and my queen, then I challenge you to an archery contest.
An archery contest?
Maybe a dance contest?
Dance contest? Hold, please. Alright, yeah, I can dance better than you.
And if I, by judge of the people in this tavern, if I best you at this dance-off, then I demand that you take back your words and speak no more ill of my people.
Make a persuasion check.
13.
That's enough.
Dance!
All right, little man. All right. And he's going to take a few steps towards the band. There's a table there where two humans were just sitting and enjoying dinner together, a husband and wife, very obviously, farmer type people. And he's just going to fling their dinner table out of the way, pushing it out to make room for a dance floor. He'll point down in front of him and say, "Get over here."
I'll confidently walk up. I'll place my bow and my quiver and my sword over against the wall, and I'll step up in front of him.
He's gonna look around to the entire tavern now. There are about 20 people there. And they're all staring at him because at this point he's made a scene and is scaring the bejesus out of everybody. Alright. We're gonna dance. And you're gonna clap for whoever you like better when we're done. Is that understood? And there are just furious just nods from around the tavern. The band looks terrified right now. Everyone is appalled by what is taking place.
Step up the tavern.
Step up tavern edition. And then he'll point to the band and say, "Play something nice." And the band will have a few quavering notes ring out before they start playing some music. What do you do?
Well, they're playing.
Yep.
I'm gonna motion to them to pick it up a little bit, and I assume there's some drums there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one that I could hold in my hand, perhaps?
Make me an investigation check.
I'm proficient in drums. 6.
So, sort of. There's a drum that you could easily fit under your arm if you wanted to, but it's big.
You know what? I'm gonna snag that off the stage, throw it under my arm, and start tapping out a.
Make me a performance check.
And I'm dancing along to it, but I haven't really cut loose yet.
Okay.
I'm warming up. 16.
All right, that's pretty good. So you start this little rap on the drum, and it's very catchy, and the orc feels that this is his cue, this is his time. So he's gonna start doing sort of an Irish-style jig, because he's an orc, and ballet really just isn't his suit. So, it's not good. It's really not good. the people in the tavern are looking kind of confused. They can't tell if this is on purpose or not. They can't tell if this is part of the game, if this is part of what's happening, or if he's tripping. But some of them start clapping along, sort of out of fear. Go ahead. What do you do next?
So I'm still tapping on the drum, and I'm going to start doing some of the moves from the tribal dance that I just practiced earlier with the stone statues.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Make me a performance check.
When he moved the people that were on the farmers only first date, did he flip the table, or is the table still there somewhere?
He sort of flung it out of the way, so the table overturned.
Okay.
But there are chairs, and there are other tables if you wanted to give yourself a higher vantage point on which to dance.
Maybe. I'm
okay.
Planning ahead.
All right.
So for right now, I'm just going to keep getting the beat going, and is the band kind of catching up to the beat that I'm doing, so it's flowing nicely. All right.
Yeah.
And I'll start doing the tribal dance moves that I so deftly maneuvered previously. And I rolled a critical fail.
That's okay, because the orc critically failed too. So, again, you're sort of, you've never played the drum and danced at the same time. This is all new.
Yeah, I know what I was thinking.
But damn it, you're gonna try. So you get a couple of steps in and realize you've lost the beat that you were rapping, so you try and focus on that and regain it, and you realize you aren't keeping time with your feet. So you've now been doing this for perhaps 30 seconds, both you and this orc horribly dancing. And everyone just seems more terrified than impressed right now. But the orc, seeing that you're sort of every bit as thrown off as he is right now, is gonna try and regain his step and actually do a decent job. So now he's sort of fallen in time with the band and is jigging on the floor in front of the onlookers in the tavern. Some of whom now, especially his three friends, are enthusiastically clapping along.
All right. Well, at this point, the beat's going, so I'm gonna abandon the drum.
Okay.
And I'm going to attempt to do a somersault onto the nearest table that I assume people are standing at or sitting at with their food and drinks and everything. But I'm gonna try and somersault onto it and continue my dancing on said table. Not table dancing, dancing on the table. Difference. Very important difference.
Make me an acrobatics check.
$12.
Okay. And a performance check.
17.
Okay. So you sort of, having placed the drum to the side, you take one quick step backwards and then sort of flip up onto a table where, yes, you're right, people were sitting there enjoying their meal before this whole thing began. And you sort of land directly in the middle of their food, and at first they're like, What the hell? That was like a week's worth of copper! What are you doing? But the more you start to dance, the more they're okay with it.
Dinner and a show.
They start clapping along, and they're genuinely enjoying the steps that you're taking. The orc, having seen this, is going to, because now at this point people are clapping specifically for you, the orc is really upset. So the orc is going to try and double his tempo. He tries. It takes him too long to get into it, but he's jigging away really, really a very difficult beat on the cobblestones. and you kind of hear his feet slapping the pavement really rapidly. You recognize that it's a hard dance he's doing. And people are still clapping for him.
I chose the one orc in existence that knows how to dance.
To be fair, he critically failed his first roll just like you. You weren't supposed to dance with him.
I played my suits.
This is...
I'm gonna keep doing my dancing and hop to another table and dance in their food.
Make me another acrobatics check.
That's a critical fail.
Make me a performance check.
6.
Okay. So you go to switch tables, but what you didn't realize is you were dancing on like mashed potatoes. So you go to take a step and it slides out from under you and you fall real hit and your butt hits the table and then you sort of bounce onto the ground. But the people think you did it on purpose. They're looking and they're like, "Ah, hey!" and they're clapping for you. You're sort of like recovering as you start to dance again, and you're like rubbing your thigh where you just fell on it because it was cobblestone, so it didn't feel great. But you're still dancing, and people are still clapping for you. The band playing frantically fast at this point. One of their lute player, like a string breaks on his lute. And the whole thing just comes like tumbling down after that. So the band comes to an almost complete abrupt stop. Do you keep dancing?
Have you ever seen Back to the Future 3?
No.
Well, there's this scene where they're like shooting at him and saying the traditional dance where they're shooting at the feet. And that slowly fades away, and he's Michael Jackson, moonwalking, and they all just stop. I'm gonna kind of go into that. You know, I was dancing with the music, and then the music stops, and I'm kind of like still singing to myself, ba, 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 ba. And I start, and I'm still dancing before I notice that the music has actually stopped.
Make me a performance check. Did you just crit?
I critted!
So you know what's funny about that?
What?
The orc, also having heard the band stop, goes through this elaborate series of taps that ends with him jumping up in the air and coming down in the splits. He also critted. And with you two doing these amazing moves, the tavern just erupts in applause. Frantic applause from every corner of the room. Even the bartender, whose table you basically just broke, is super stoked. Everyone is thrilled. And this, the orc getting up from the splits that he had landed in is laughing. And he goes, oh, mate, that was more fun I've had in a long time. And he's gonna place a giant hand on your shoulder and say, I'm sorry about what I said. It was real inappropriate. And if she's a queen, I'm sure she's great. You know, I just saw, a picture of her. I've never actually met her. But I'm really sorry about what I said before. That was lots of fun.
It was. You have some amazing moves. I would love to practice with you one day.
Mate. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Let me go get you a drink. So you're standing in the middle of the area where you had been dancing. And the orc takes a few steps towards the barkeep. And the environment around you almost starts to fade away.
I never got his name.
Piece by piece, it sort of fades to darkness. And then all at once, you're hit with a giant wave of light. And you're pushed back into the circular room where you started the trials. And Pearl's face is on the wall across from you, smiling gently. Child, that was quite unorthodox. I'm proud of your ingenuity.
You know, if I learned nothing else, I learned how to think outside the box.
Do you feel more prepared now to live your life in the way of our people?
I do. I feel like I understand our culture and our craft and our path and our courage, and I would die to defend our honor.
You're certainly more clever than many of us here. That skill will serve you greatly in the world beyond our borders. Now, it is time for you to go claim your rewards. The Queen is waiting for you outside.
Do I still have the... I didn't get to pick up my bow, did I? And sword?
When you were transported back to this room, you basically, as you entered, so shall you leave. You don't have your weapons anymore.
All right. And I will confidently walk out the door.
Which
Bye,
door?
Pearl.
Oh, which door? This room has like 20 doors.
Crap. Well, I guess I'll look around. But didn't I come through one and I was faced with all of them?
Sort of, but also sort of no. You get the sense that in order to get here, you were transported across plains.
All right. I guess I will do some more investigating.
Make an investigation roll for me.
That is a 15.
That is enough. Making one final circle around the room. Before, where you had these heavy scents wafting through the air, now you hear things. You hear music behind one door. You hear a couple's laughter behind another. You hear the babbling of a brook behind one. But there is a door that has the same howling winds as you remember leaving this morning.
I will gingerly open that door.
Okay. The moment you turn the knob and crack the door, again, a rush of blinding warm light washes over you. And as you open your eyes again, you're standing outside of the ice wall that you walked through initially. The circle of onlookers is still there. It's almost as if you were never really gone. However, to your right, you see one of the young half-elven men that you went in with. His parents are there, huddled down beside a wrapped corpse. You can safely assume that not everyone made it through the trials. Looking around, you do see that one of your female peers made it through and is standing in front of you right now, looking really worse for the wear. She's got bruises and scratches all down one arm. It looks like the sleeve of her tunic was entirely ripped off, and she's looking like she got in some kind of scuffle somewhere. As you stand there and kind of make eye contact with her, both recognizing that the other one made it through. Part of the circle will part and the queen will reappear.
I'll go down on a knee.
Queen Artana takes some steps towards the two of you. She bends and brings you up off your knee and stands the two of you side by side, the two of you that faced the trials and succeeded. Children, today is a good day for our people. The two of you have performed admirably in the trials and will serve our city-state well. However, this is just the beginning. Many more trials will place themselves in your paths to greatness. But these are the first steps you can take. She's gonna reach into her robes and pull out a sword shorter than the one you had in the actual trials themselves, but of the same style. Heavily decorated. There's lots of gold and jewel inlay on the hilt. A gift for you.
Thank you, my queen.
Congratulations. She's going to turn to the young lady at your side and pull out something. It looks like a semicircular blade that wraps around your knuckles. Again, heavily jeweled with more of that blue ink that you saw in the first room of the trials. And she'll present it to the young lady. Something to keep you safe on the road, my dear. Now, looking at the woman at your side, you recognize that, oh, this is the princess. That's who just went through the trials today, is the princess. And she, the queen, hands this weapon to her daughter, and then turns back to you and says, "The two of you didn't know it, but going into this was the most important set of trials we would ever face. Our supplies are dwindling. You all will have to face the world in a way that we've never done. We need help, and you two are going to bring it back for us. We'll speak more of this soon." And again, without waiting for a response, she turns and leaves the circle. Congratulations, you have completed the Trials of Prentice.
Yay, I didn't die.
You didn't die. In fact, you managed to avoid a lot of the combat that I thought was going to happen.
Clever thinking.
Yeah, so I don't know why did you challenge the orc to a dance-off?
I don't know.
Why did you challenge the orc to a dance? You were supposed to fight the orc.
Well, when I thought maybe it was going to be a drinking challenge or
Drinking challenge would have been good.
something like that, and I didn't want to do that because I didn't know how I thought it would be a 4-on-1 situation there, and I didn't know that I could fight all of them. So I was thinking of my strengths. I honestly don't know where dance came from.
You know, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud. So, for you guys watching, first of all, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Second of all, Justice and I kind of came up with this idea on the fly yesterday, but I had fun.
Yeah.
I think we might do more of these one-on-one shots in the morning.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Saturday morning cartoon style, because it's really easy for us to set up and kind of go. Like, that was 10-15 minutes of writing, and we ended up just botching the whole plan. So so I think we'll probably continue to do these. They're a lot of fun for us, and we hope that they're fun for you guys too. Tomorrow Yeah, I am discriminating against dance battles because I can't dance for shit. And I would have died. The orc would have stomped on me, and I personally, as a human, would have died. So tomorrow we have our second installment of the Quest for Breadcrumbs, our all Aarakocra D&D adventure. It's going to start off with a chariot race in which I tricked a bird into pulling my chariot for me. So this should be interesting. Come hang out with us tomorrow. There's some more birthday stuff on the schedule for next week as well. Some more giveaways and things like that. And then more D&D over the weekend. So there's all kinds of things. The Justice has a charity one-shot with Take This Monday night over on their channel. We both come back for Anarchs of New York, Vampire the Masquerade on Friday over at Q Time. So there's lots and lots of stuff to see this week. But tomorrow, Quest for Breadcrumbs, come hang out, and lots of D&D. We're going to go and get some lunch. But thank you guys so much for chilling. I'll let Justice talk while I try and find someone to kick us over to.
Yeah, so moral of the story, dice matter, I think, was the most important thing to take away from today. You gotta pick the right dice for the right job. And I think that we should get some special pajamas if we're going to be doing Saturday morning cartoon one-on-ones.
I mean...
What do you guys think?
But what kind of pajamas? Do we get them with, like, a stupid design on them, or what?
Brandon says onesies.
We have plenty of onesies around this house, but you wouldn't be able to see. Like, you can't see if it's a onesie or a twosie.
We could get, like, the super... I in my kerchief and Ma in her cap, like, with the like, Ebenezer Scrooge stocking.
Stocking caps?
Yeah. We'll think on it.
We'll find some good PJs for next week. We'll try.
Chat, does that sound like a good... We should have some pajamas? Is that...
I'm gonna rate Amanda now because art. We just had a dance off, so now we're gonna go to drawing because it's very like
on brand.
It's on brand. It's on brand. All right, thanks guys,
you guys
so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.